Welcome everyone to episode 38 of the Capital Wrestling Podcast. I'm host Sean O'Brien. You can catch us here every Wednesday afternoon via YouTube. Just search Capital Wrestling and go to soundcloud.com/LTours And we're also available on iTunes. Just catch the El Torres Podcast right there. Follow us on Twitter at Capital Wrestling without the G. Follow me on Twitter at Sean Neutron. Search for us at Capital Wrestling on Facebook and Instagram. If you have any business inquiries, sponsorships, talent that wants to be on shows, go to capitalwrestling@gmail.com. Right now, go to brownpapertickets.com and search Capital Wrestling Presents World War IV. Got the tickets on there, ticket packages. You can also go to Groupon.com and get a nice 2 for $20 deal. Every Monday night, we're live on Twitch at 7:05. Just go to twitch.tv/Capital Wrestling. We're also on GFQ, Guys from Queens, with the Matt Men podcast, gfqlive.tv. And if you want to buy any of our merchandise, go to whatamaneuver.net, prowrestlingtees.com, and now we're on amazon.com. We have the Rotunda Capital t-shirt in red, royal and heather blue, and slate and heather gray. If you have WWE 2K18, submit your created wrestler from the Capital Wrestling roster for a chance to win tickets on December 29th. Just tweet or email it to us. So we have a lot of big things coming up on December 29th. A lot of matches have been announced. And we're also going to have a seminar that afternoon. I believe it's from, I want to say 3 to 5 p.m. And it's going to have Marcus Dowling, Brutal Bob Evans, and Lauren Patish. And it's going to be $45 each. You're going to get to learn, not only be trained by Bob Evans and learn plenty of great information from him, but you're going to learn a lot of the media and, how to be a personality kind of stuff from Marcus and Lauren. So they've got lots of years of experience between all three of them. So you're definitely not, $45 is a bargain for all three. Once again, December 29th, World War IV is coming up, and we're going to have a lot going on there. We're going to have a fun card to get to, and we're going to have the Memphis Mofo, Mark Bravura, and Bo Crockett taking on Isaiah Wolf and Hank Flanders. We're going to have a Packy Chip death match with Jeff Cannonball and Logan Black. We're going to have the Master of Excellence taking on the debuting Wildman Congo. The Capital Wrestling Champion, Ken Dixon, is going to be taking on John Kerman. We're going to get to see the Bastards versus Team Capital, and that's going to include Matthew Ryan Shapiro's debut in the ring. And we're also going to have the 5-way dance for number one contendership of the Capital Wrestling Championship between Matt MacIntosh, the Colossal Mike Law, Anthony Gangone, really good Ryan Zane, and Leon St. Giovanni, the Human Rocket. But tonight's guest is going to be a very special one. He is the Capital Wrestling Television Champion, and none other than the Colossal Mike Law. What's up, Mike?
Hey, what's up, man? How's everything going, Sean?
Oh, doing great, man. Great to have you on here once again.
Great to be back, finally. I feel like it's been a while. I feel like it's been a while since I last came on the show. But I'm glad to be back. Very exciting. December 29th looks to be probably like our biggest event going into the new year, but we certainly look to end it with a bang.
Also, you have the great pleasure of being on my Twitter avatar, so making my picture look all the much better.
Yeah, I think when you have two very handsome, stunning young men in the picture, it's just going to make things that much better for everybody. It's a great visual.
It gives me lots of integrity, so I would have it no other way. But yeah, man, what have you been up to lately?
Wow, this past week was pretty good. I would say it was probably one of the busiest. Notably, August and December are for a lot of wrestlers. So a lot of companies, because of the fact that August is a time of the year where people go on vacation. A lot of events are not running that time frame, but again, it doesn't have to be. I mean, I pretty much had a pretty solid schedule for the year, and going to New Year, it's going to get even better. But December is always that month too, because of the holidays. A lot of people don't want to run because of how close it is proximity-wise to Christmas and the holidays. So, but this week alone, I know I returned to XWA Rhode Island on Friday night. That was Thursday night. On Friday, wrestled over at Fiesta Pro Wrestling New Jersey, then trekked all the way to Brooklyn for Warriors Wrestling Night 1 of the 10th anniversary show over there. And then Saturday, did perform for the ECWA over in Jersey in Woodbury Heights. And then, and of course, I am the first entrant in the 2018 Super 8. So let's not forget that. That's a huge thing for me. And then returned to Staten Island that same night over to Warriors Wrestling for night 2 of their 10th anniversary event for a ladder match. I will say my back is pretty messed up from the ladder. That was I should have taken a picture because it was a pretty good welt on the back, on the like it looked like if anyone wants to play Street Fighter, just imagine the Sagat scar that he has on his front on my back. That's what it was looking like.
And that was an ECWA had recently had their debut in Atlantic City, right?
Yeah. They did it over at the Showboat Hotel. It used to be Hotel Casino, but right now they're focusing on bringing a lot of performances. ECWA exclusively being one of them. I'm telling you, man, like, I'll give those guys, I give all promoters all the praise in the world, because it isn't easy. It really is not an easy thing to promote anything, let alone wrestling. But I'll tell you, coming off of Thanksgiving weekend, I was skeptical. I'm like, this is going to be a hard sell. It's the end of the month. It's after Thanksgiving. It's Atlantic City. It's a new venue in a new area. But I'll say that ECWA, if you look at the crowd, it was a really good crowd for their debut event, and they will be returning, I believe, in March to the Showboat in Atlantic City. I think it's going to be a smart decision. I think, as far as Atlantic City needs to be rebuilt, I think if you continue to sell the fact that there's different forms of entertainment in that area, that's going to bring some fans in from the fans that have gone to like online gambling.
Yeah.
There's more of an initiative really to come out to do these shows.
Yeah, I mean, and you had a match on there against Matthias Glass, and he's been making waves as of late. Just discuss being in the ring with him and what it was like, and just him as a performer.
Yeah, I mean, outside of all the controversial stuff that's gone on, in regards to the character of Matthias Glass, I would say the person who portrays that character is a hard-working, humble guy. You know what I mean? Like, I had maybe, I want to say his first or second match ever. So even as a performer, I've seen him kind of like improve on certain aspects of things that he's done, and he even knows that there are other aspects that he needs to work on in terms of the overall in-ring presence and all that. But he honestly, like, the guy hustles and he works hard. You know what I mean? Like, he's not. I can say it, I can vouch for him as a person and know that he definitely didn't take the easy way out. You know, I mean, he pays his due on a regular basis in terms of doing what needs to be done at shows. So I can't say a bad word about that. I mean, the work ethic is there. You know what I mean? As far as the character, look, I can appreciate and admire anybody's opinion about what they believe, whether it's right, wrong, or indifferent. I'm going to respect what people have to say about whether it's my character or a character of a Matthias Glass or Crazy Ivan. I remember Crazy Ivan was a thing back in the day. I mean, the stuff that he did in Jersey All Pro years ago. My gosh, you would never be able to get away with today. Never.
Yeah.
So it's like, times have changed. Opinions have also changed as well. At the end of the day, like I said, it's a character. You know what I mean? People are certainly entitled to what they believe. That's why, again, it's one of those things where we're entitled to agree to disagree, and that's pretty much where I'm at with that. The guy, I can vouch for the guy as a person. I think, again, he works hard. He puts his best foot forward. He's a humble kid, and I think he knows that he has a lot more to learn. I mean, I know there's a lot of 2-year vets out there who grizzled vets who believe they know everything and want everyone to believe they know everything. But dude, I've been doing this for years, and I still know I don't know everything. So that's just that's the attitude I have, man. You just gotta be humble and work hard. And people are gonna say good and bad things about you, and different things about you. I ignore them and I just go forward. I'm not harming anybody. I'm not. I'm out there to put on a show for everybody. Put on the best performance, and that's just where that needs to stay, in my opinion.
Yeah, I mean, in my opinion, I think the gimmick itself, I'm not a fan of, and everyone has their right to either enjoy it or not. But I do believe, when you watch his videos, when you see him, in the ring and stuff like that, he's definitely got the ability. He's got the charisma. So to me, he doesn't even need that gimmick. I mean, it has separated him from other guys. It's gotten him that attention. But I just think with the abilities and talent that I can see from what I've seen before, I think he doesn't really even need that. So.
Yeah, I think, you know what, in due time, it's going to be that. It's going to come to that point where he won't need it. See, like, I remember reading, and Taz is one of the guys that I used to, watch there. I used to read all the interviews because I was a huge Taz fan, still probably am. And to me, he spoke about, like, a Spike Dudley, or the Dudleys, for example, when you had Bubba doing the stutter thing, and, who knows who that would have offended. But the thing is, like, that character, after a while, was needed because at that point the Dudleys had gotten so good at what they did that they could have, just slightly just transformed what they were doing. I think eventually Matthias Glass could get to that point where he could be good enough in that ring where the character will just be an afterthought and he can change that aspect. But, again, you're not going to please everybody.
Yeah.
God knows that in pro wrestling, what we do, there's been, this is by far the least, or one of the least controversial figures I've ever. If I could even tell you about the character they had in New Jersey, it was an incredibly strange wrestling. This was years ago. This was back when tape trading. It was a guy named the Abortionist. This guy come out with a hanger. That happened. But it was. You can look back in the old wrestling magazines. It really was a character. It really was this guy, portraying this character. And to me, yeah, of course. I mean, I'm like, when I heard about it, I was only 16 years old, 17 years old. I heard about this. My jaw dropped. I was like, oh my God, you can't. But again, it's not the least. I'm not saying it's the least, but in that, if you were to take in that perspective, there have been far more offensive characters. And people being portrayed as such. Muhammad Hassan, an Italian guy, portraying a kind of terroristic Middle Easterner like that. That's the big boy right there. You know what I mean? So, at the end of the day, I certainly, again, I respect and understand people's perspective on things. I don't believe it should hurt this kid's opportunity to do something bigger because, again, once that he evolves as a performer and he starts to find his niche, he really probably won't even need that anymore, man. It is something to do to stand out. I get it. I now have a big barbell that I come out with, which I don't think is going to be able to fit through the curtain at Capitol on the 29th, so that's going to be a problem. But, I think a lot of people find their way of just trying to stand out from the crowd, especially when it comes to wrestling, man. There's so much talent. I say it time and time, I am not envious of any of the bookers or any of the promoters. There's so much talent out there right now. It's insane, man. And you got, for better or worse, there are things that you may have to do to kind of stand out because there's just so much talent. There's, you and I talked about it. There's crazy amount of talent out there.
Yeah, and it just sounds like that one idea from ISW should have been aborted from the get-go.
I mean, my gosh, I don't know what. I think with incredibly strange wrestling, that's what they were just looking for, the shock value. Look, that company existed back when it was Howard Stern. I'm not to say he's not big now, but I'm saying they were they wanted to be the shock jocks of pro wrestling. They were looking to do stuff that and just to be controversial. Again, if I were to tell you some of the things that they did and matches they had, the stuff today is just it's not even comparison. I don't even consider them a wrestling company, but they were what they were.
But we've seen you. You're on a two fight win streak right now. I mean, you had your debut match versus the Pain Train Preston Quinn, and you lost in a good matchup against him. But ever since, you had a good match against Matt MacIntosh and another one against Bo Crockett. Obviously, the quality of your matches seems to never stray from good to great. So, what do you attribute that to, and what do you feel about being on this 2-fight win streak?
I will say this: my biggest regret against MacIntosh was I didn't come in the shape that I thought I should have been. Look, I can spread, excuses left and right. I wasn't in the shape that I need to be against a guy like that, and I'll take full responsibility. I think next time we lock horns, it won't be the same thing. I'll certainly be in a lot better shape, or where I just want to be in terms of that. With those guys, it's just stylistically. I like being in the ring with those guys because they tested me in terms of athleticism in different aspects, but also the fact stylistically they're two different guys. MacIntosh is what I consider like the new age indie wrestling, where it's like, and it's not a bad thing. It's really just high impact, hard hitting. It's a fusion of a couple different aspects of pro wrestling, and again, it's just the next wave of what wrestling is changed to. Low Crockett's more of a methodical, straight-laced punch kick, hard hitting, old school mentality kind of wrestling. Again, it's never a bad thing, and it's never meant to be in a negative light, because that's what makes wrestling great. I know that a lot of guys are like, oh, well, these guys do too many flips, and these guys do too many of that. But dude, if everybody wrestles the same, then it wouldn't be special. You need the hardcore, wrestling guys. You need the new wave, high spots, flip guys. Like you need all these different aspects, because for the wrestling fan, it's amazing. It's an amazing opportunity to say, oh, I'd like to see that guy, because and for wrestling promoters, the opportunity to be like, all right, well, we cater to these kind of fans. They like this type of wrestling. We cater to these type of fans. Like, if you can get that all under one roof,
yeah,
that to me is like a winning formula. If you can get all the different styles of like the comedy wrestlers, the straight no frills wrestlers, the high flyers, the lucha libre guys, the freaking strong style guys, the new wave indie guys, you get all those different styles under one roof, you'll have a match for different type of people that enjoy wrestling. You have your MMA fans that like the grappling stuff, I think you have to just be appreciative that there's so much talent that can do that now, that you couldn't do it back in the day, that's actually a good thing. Like, guys, you have guys saying that it's a bad thing, or saying that they want things the way it used to be, but, and wrestling has changed, and that evolution will continue for a very long time.
Yeah, I think it's one of those things where, in defense of anyone who's complaining about the flips and dives and everything, obviously I don't mind it happening. I think you just can't have a show where you have everyone doing it, whether it's the small guys, big guys, because I've been to shows like that before where you have like 6 or 7 matches, and in 6 and 7 of them you've had at least 1 or 2 dives. You're like, well, now it's taking the novelty out of it.
Yeah, I agree. I think, again, that goes within the pacing of the show, and that goes within the idea of, and that has to go on the promoter's end. They have to know what fits where. You build an event, and again, it's simply, a lot of companies make it very complex. Like, you got to learn how to build your event, you know what I mean? And everything has to lead to that main event. The thing is with a lot of companies is that they say they want you to release stuff for the main event, but a lot of times, like, oh, we want you to do the best you can. Or we want you to go out there and kill it. So subliminally, that's telling you, all right, well, if you want me to kill it, then I'm just going to go out there and do every single thing that I know how to do. Because, yes, you don't have to do that. And guys like myself know that you don't have to do everything in your repertoire to make the fans react. But to a lot of guys coming up, them saying, oh, go out there and kill it, or have the best match you can, to a lot of those guys, and I was on a trip with Sean Donovan actually recently, and we were talking about this. Big shout out to Sean Donovan, great guy, really good performer. And Steve, the ref, Steve also was a part of this trip. But we talked about how we tell a lot of guys to go out there and kill it, or have the best match you can. To them, that might be like, okay, well, I'm going to do 100 flips because that's the best match I can give. It's not like I don't know if it's intentional or they're subliminally telling these guys, go out there and kill yourself. Or is it like have the best match you can? It can be interpreted in so many ways.
Yeah. That is, the interpretation is definitely a big thing in wrestling, whether it's fans or wrestlers themselves. Everyone's got an opinion, and people just have to respect everyone's, even if they don't agree with it.
Yeah, I mean, people can have difference of opinions all the time. I respect and I move on, man. Like, I can't harp on other people's opinions of me or what I do or what so-and-so does. It's just too much to life at this point. There really is, and yeah, I can't harp on it. Maybe when I was younger, yeah, but at this point in my life, I can't say the same thing. If someone doesn't like me or doesn't like what I do, I believe me, I lose a microsecond of sleep over it.
No, I think even Matt MacIntosh had a tweet earlier today where he was talking about pretty much, he's made enough friends and he doesn't need any more. I mean, he's and all this kind of stuff, and that if you don't like it or don't have something he likes to say, or something he does, then you can kind of deal with it. I'm like, hey, I agree with that, man. Life's too short to be sitting here trying to please everyone.
Yeah, and then the thing is, when you're in the public eye, in any form of that, of whether it's pro wrestling or anything, you're gonna have your detractors. You're gonna have people like you. Like that's a term. That's what we signed up for. Essentially, is when people like I'm not the other shit. Like there's stuff that people write about others that's just straight up malicious, man. And like these are people that obviously don't have a lot going on for themselves, so they feel the need to bring others down. I'm not talking about that. Like I'm talking about like, hey, well, COLOSSAL Mike Law, he's not that good, man. Bless you. If that's what you believe in, by all means. And I'm not really performing for you. I'm performing for the people that do like me. Let's move on with our lives. Look, you pay for a ticket, come make noise. Like have a good time. When I go to shows, even just to support friends, it's very rare. But what I do, I'm there to have a good time. And everyone's trying to put on the best foot forward, and that's all you can ask for.
Yeah, exactly. Now, at the last show, we saw Ken Dixon named as the Capital Wrestling Champion by one Matthew Ryan Shapiro, who had apparently bought the title from Capital Wrestling and paid $1 more for it. And now they have formed the group with the Endgame Paul Jourdain and also the New York Wrecking Crew, and they've created the Bastards. What are your thoughts on that group and as Ken Dixon is champion?
It's hard to really, and I'm not saying anything like, as far as Ken Dixon, I mean, I've seen him, wrestle, and I certainly believe that he is as good as, they say he is. But I think it's hard to, let's choose my words here before. I think it's hard to really put him to the forefront as a champion. Like, I hate the idea that somebody was given a title. And I think Ken, deep down inside, would believe the same thing, too. I don't think he's the kind of guy. He didn't seem to me, I've had very limited amount of actual interactions with a guy.
Yeah.
But to me, I don't think a guy like that who I probably feel, maybe I don't know him that well to say, but I would think a guy like that who works hard and, tries to he gives that image of a tough guy, which I certainly think he is. I don't think a guy like that even believes that that's the way you do it, And you can take it for whether any way you want it. I do not agree with it. I think you could have done everything of your tournament. I just think I don't know, it's just a bad decision. You know what I mean? Like, everybody works hard, and you have a crew of talent at Capitol. You can't tell me they couldn't, come up with a tournament or something, or I know we're doing the Fatal 5-Way for the number one contendership, but why not have, a match for that to determine who the champion was? To me, there needs to be a better way of presenting that to not only the fans, they're the customers, they're the ones that are watching this, but to the guy like a Ken Dixon. I think he would tell you himself that he's I'm saying it, we'll see when he faces his opponent in the 29th, if that's the case. But I believe he's a fighting champion, and I'm sure that he's a guy that would have probably welcomed the challenge of earning it as opposed to be given.
Yeah, he'll be taking that belt and defending against John Kerman at the next show. So that'll be a very fun stylistic matchup there, and two guys who I don't recall them even wrestling before, whether there or whether in other promotions. So it should be interesting to see how those two mix it up.
Yeah, I mean, you know what? Like anything less than a hard hitting shoot style match, I'd be very surprised. I think those guys are gonna go and they're gonna knock it out of the park. They have a lot of competition that night as far as who other matches as far as what's gonna go on. And I think any fan who comes to the show on the 29th is going to be in for a treat. I think what I spoke about before about the different styles of wrestling will be represented very well throughout the night. I think Ken, John are certainly gonna they're gonna have to. I mean, they're the main event. They're gonna have to put their best foot forward. And I'll tell you right now, I wouldn't be envious of their spot being the main event after what Capital is going to present on December 29th, because the fact is those guys are going to really have to nail it and kill it, and I'm sure they will. That's the thing. I'm pretty sure that the promoters of Capital Wrestling are confident in Ken, and certainly confident in Ken and Kerman in producing probably a top level match, which I'm excited to see.
Now, that's also going to see the in-ring debut of Matthew Ryan Shapiro as he teams with the Bastards take on Team Capital. Sex Craze, the Perfect Strangers, the Endgame, Paul Jourdain, and the New York Wrecking Crew, all going to be in that one match. What do you think about Matthew Ryan Shapiro stepping foot in the ring?
Oh, man. I was never... I personally don't have anything against him, to be honest. I mean, a lot of people are annoyed. A lot of people get annoyed by Matt. I think a lot of people think he comes off. I don't think they know he comes off as pompous, and he has the 2-year vet syndrome. Where he comes off and he knows a lot more than he thinks he does. But I will say, he did get himself a good crew of guys. The Team Capital guys are in for a very, very tough fight, man. Poor Jourdain, that dude is huge. And I'm saying, all things aside, that guy, I'm shocked. And again, I wouldn't be shocked if he gets looked at by the WWE, because he has the size, he has the good look. He's very physical. He has the making stuff that they would want.
Is he colossal though?
Oh, no, I wouldn't say that. I mean, he's a big guy, but colossal, that's another level. We're talking about, 6'7", 600 pounds. But, he's a big guy. Perfect Strangers have been, applying themselves as a team for a while now. I'd love to see the guys break out, man. I think they need something. Those guys I don't know if it's the Bastards are going to do it or bring it out of them, but those guys need something to push themselves up, because and I'm just saying this as a wrestler looking in, those guys, the Perfect Strangers, have potential to be more than they are. They just have to find it, man. And I don't know if it's going to be as a team. I don't know if it's going to be as separate entities. But those guys try. They work hard. They need a little more edginess. And I think maybe the New York Wrecking Crew will be the guys to bring it out of them. Who knows? Smiley's that guy that I was telling you about, that new kind of indie style, super indie style of, just taking the high flying and doing some of the craziest, most innovative things I've ever seen. The guy is just Brian Excel, Amazing Red, the trainer of Smiley, just did a great job getting that guy assimilated with just top rope. I mean, watching that guy, you always know you're going to see something crazy. And
yeah.
That's, I'll give that to him. Him and Matt, I think, could make a fun team. I didn't see it in the beginning. I didn't see what was the whole, for a while, when a promotion presents their vision of a talent and what they do with them, You don't see it. And I didn't see it at first with Sec Trade. But now I'm like, oh, okay. It makes sense now, you know?
Yeah. Yeah, they're definitely a very dynamic duo there, and they both bring something very different to the game, and that's what makes them a good tag team. So I can't wait to see how they mix up with the Perfect Strangers, and it's good to see somebody like Andros back in the ring. He had an injury last time, so he couldn't step foot in the ring, but this time he's all healed up and he'll be good to go. And him and Marcus are they definitely have great chemistry as well. And I love seeing the progression between those two.
Yeah, again, they're gonna in this coming year, man. They're gonna. It goes back to standing out. You know, there are there's way too much great talent out there to just settle. You know what I mean? Like, you cannot just settle in indie wrestling. If you want to go and start blowing up and getting people to notice you, you got to do things that are gonna make you stand out. You know, and those guys right now, they're at that point where they need to do something very different to make them stand out. You know, that's me straight up shooting, telling you exactly what I think those guys need to do, and in order to move on or to stand out.
Yeah. Elsewhere in tag team action, we're going to have the Memphis Mofo, Mark Bravura, teaming up with Bo Crockett, representing the NRA, and they'll be taking on Isaiah Wolf and good-looking Hank Flanders. Now, Isaiah Wolf and Hank Flanders are a pretty relatively new tag team to Capital Wrestling, two young guys looking to make a mark. And Mark Bravura and Bo Crockett are trying to keep that old guard there. And what do you think about that matchup?
Oh my God, that's really gonna happen. I hate to be like the guy that like bursts anybody's bubble, but I would be shocked if this isn't a thrashing. Like Mofo, and like I don't like Mofo, and I certainly don't like Bo either. Like, I think those two guys, are like big shit talkers. I'm not, and I'm sorry for the language, but like that's what those guys just up and down all day. But in this situation, man, it's not looking good. It's not. I'm not even gonna like sugarcoat it. This is gonna be a beatdown. If you're a fan of beatdowns, and I'm talking like uncomfortable beatdowns, like this is gonna be, this is gonna be one of them. Yeah. Sorry.
Now, we're also going to have the first ever Packy Chip Deathmatch, sponsored by Packy Chip. If you don't know them, they're the ones who are doing the One Chip Challenge. And we're going to see Jeff Cannonball take on Logan Black. So what are your thoughts on those two guys and the stipulation?
So Jeff hosts his own show on the YouTube channel. And they try to get me to get that. I almost choked to death on a pepper. I can't imagine what would happen if I ate one of these chips. It would probably put me in the emergency room.
Same.
I hope for Logan Black's sake he doesn't lose, because those things are like, people don't realize those things are like deadly, and they come in a coffin. Like, I don't know how much more of a warning you need. A chip, it's a one chip, guys, that comes in a coffin. I'm at that point, if I lose, you better just kill me, because I don't want to deal with the pain of eating one of those things. Now,
if you're not familiar with Jeff Cannonball's YouTube show, everyone listening, he's got a show called The Flaming Table on YouTube where he eats spicy foods and has his guests indulge with him. And I think they usually have like wings, and they upgrade each one in terms of spiciness, whether it's ghost peppers, habanero, all that kind of stuff. And by the time you get to the fifth one, if you're not in tears, usually that's the guy's either tapped out or whatever. He's had a host of guys on there. And the guys who have been in death matches will even say that the spicy stuff he gives them, it rivals that in terms of intensity. So it's really a good watch. You got to go check that out. But I will say, I've seen these one chip challenges. I saw John Kerman do it on his Instagram, and he didn't even flinch when he had that chip. So John Kerman is one tough son of a bitch.
Look, man, John Kerman at times is, and I'm not. I love to actually step in the ring with John. I think I'd have a fantastic match with him. But John, so the everyday person, you look at John, he don't look like much. You're like, he's not like a guy who's like a huge body. He's a guy who, once you see him wrestle or fight, because he is a legitimate MMA fighter, you know that this guy is legitimate and will snap most people's necks. Like he doesn't. You look at him, nice guy. You know, you don't think much of him. I think he wears glasses sometimes, but the guy is like legitimately a tough dude. And I'm not shocked that he didn't flinch. I mean, he's like the Chuck Norris of Capital Wrestling.
Yeah, no doubt. And, he's tough, but also elsewhere in the card, we're going to see another tough opponent, and that's going to be the Master of Excellence, Preston Quinn, one of your former opponents, going under the mask, and he's going to be taking on the debuting Wildman Congo. So that's just a battle of two hosses. What are your thoughts on those two?
I hope it's a hard-hitting match. I think, at the end of the day, man, pro wrestling has always been about the big guys, I think, I thoroughly enjoyed facing Preston, because Preston's one of the guys who does bring it. Like, he's a hard hitter. I like to lay it in too. So, it's one of those things where we just, with a fight to see who's tougher, and it's weird the way that whole thing happens. But, as far as, Wildman Congo, I think he's a guy that he has a different look. He's certainly not a guy that you see in the area a lot, so it's going to be a treat for people to come see him. I don't suspect that it will be anything less than a hard-hitting match. It's always one of those things where you want to one-up each other. Like, oh, this is going to fall. Okay, so let's do it. Like, and it's just like, it's like almost an unspoken thing, man. You just go in there, and it's always about who's going to be the tougher guy, especially with the heavyweights, man. Like, some of these dudes hit like to kill, and I think that match is going to be one of those matches. I think those guys. Again, if I'm John Kerman and I'm Ken Dixon, this is going to be one of those nights where, I mean, they're going to have to bring the very best out of each other, because they have a lot of competition.
Now, we're going to play a game here, and it's 4 stars who are not announced for the card just yet, but we're going to play a game so that you, when I name them, you think of one word to describe them.
Sure.
Joey Ace.
Potential.
Ronnie Burton.
Heavy metal.
Loud.
If you want to
go. What about Joe Keys?
Colorful.
Yeah, I like that vibe he's bringing with bringing the '80s back. I love it.
Yeah, I live in Miami Vice, but I don't know. It's probably a little dated for the audience that's going to be hearing this.
He actually, when I talked to him, he said he'd never seen Miami Vice before. I mean, he knows of it, but he'd never seen an actual episode.
Oh no, lies! There's no way he has seen at least like a couple of episodes.
He said being born in 90.
I mean, that's the vibe I get from him, but
Yeah, no, he says he's being born in '93. It was a travesty from the birth gods.
I tell you, what is old is new again. So there you go.
No, and he's really killing it there, and I'm enjoying the progression of his character. But when you say Joey Ace with potential, what do you see in Joey Ace?
See, Joey Ace, and she's probably gonna give me flack for it, but I don't really care. I know Joey. I've known Joey for a very long time. Joey Ace should be farther along in his career than he is. And I know it's probably going to get but he knows that, I love that guy, man. And I'm telling you that he should be farther up and doing more than he is. And I think it's just really, there's a couple factors with Joey. He is hard-headed.